Let me guess, you're getting that itch again. It's time to burn your wallet in the sacrifice of the altar of espresso, and that Fellow Espresso one is high up on your radar of things I should blow all my money on, isn't it? Well, hold on. It's sleek, it's compact, and by all available metrics, it should punch well above its weight class. But I'm very nervous about this machine. As a technician, a coffee shop owner, I roast every single bag of beans we ever serve. I got a lot of cautions. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly on this machine, because there are a couple things that a lot of people seem to be missing and not talking about that we need to cover. And if you like these more technical breakdowns, go ahead and hit subscribe and check out whatever links I have below. I don't know what it is. But technically, let's get into it. So like I said, let me be honest about this. This is a very good machine. It's got a lot of pros to it. A lot of things that make me quite happy to want it. First off, I mean, it's really clever and it is good looking. It looks a lot like a GS3 if we're being honest with ourselves about it, but it's got a lot of internal features, a lot of good quality of life, things that just someone who's actually a barista and has been a barista for a long time, they're going to like it. It was very well thought out, and it was very clearly made to be a enjoyable experience for whoever is using it. On top of that, I really do like their pressure profiling. And it seems like from the interviews and the live streams that I saw, they're doing that by modulating an Olka pump. Now, these are just your normal vibratory water pumps that you find on a lot of different machines, but from the sounds of it, they're doing it a bit of a clever way. Rather than just turning it off and on at certain intervals, they're actually controlling the power to the pump to get your flow profiling, which is your pressure profiling. And just to make them happy, flow plus resistance, which your resistance is your puck. That is how you get pressure. So they are specifically adjusting power to change your flow rate. You have a set resistance with your puck, but that is what yields what we're calling pressure profiling. I mean, again, clever system. It seems like a good machine. The temperature stability in it is awesome. So if you don't know how they're accomplishing this, let me actually doodle this out for you. So this is their heating system. Now I'm not going to actually try to draw them. This is an engineering block diagram. You have block 1, block 2, block 3, and this is your outlet, which we're going to just call that our group head. This is your inlet, which is your water tank. And then you have a 3-phase heater system. So your heater 1, so we're going to call it H1, heater 2, and your heater 3. Your heater 1, they're calling it, I'm going to use my own lingo. They have their own proprietary names for it. So it's what you might call a soft boiler. And this is only trying to get the water hot, not boiling, not crazy. But it from what I can tell, it's essentially a big coil that it runs water through, and maybe I'm wrong about that, or it runs it over the coil, not really sure. But it's trying to get water, hot. Maybe it's like 85 degrees Celsius. I'm sure the exact numbers are online, but frankly, I don't care. It's not the point of this. Then you have what I believe is a 200 milliliter boiler. So very small single boiler. And this is very standard, like what you might find on a Ranchillo Sylvia, just a heating element inside a canister of water. That's it. That's how boilers work. That's how almost every machine works. And then you have a thermoblock. So you have a thermoblock for the final heater. So let's say 85 going through heater 1. The outlet on heater 2 might be something like 93 Celsius. And then your thermoblock is what accounts for whatever the remainder is. We're just going to call that FH for final heat. One of the big things they talked about was this whole process from completely cold till the machine was off to on is only 90 seconds, which I do appreciate. So there's a lot of things that they're taking a lot of components from a lot of different things. Soft boilers specifically, those are not common. The standard boiler, like I said, this is something you would find on like a Ranchillo Sylvia or really any commercial machine. Any commercial machine is actually using a multi-boiler system, which is just a multiple big ones of these standard style boilers. And then most Breville machines like a Bambino actually use thermoblocks like this one. So this is a good system. It's smart. It's clever. It gets you very good temperature stability very, very quickly. So I actually have no gripes from an engineering standpoint. And then just some other things. It looks like a pretty clean interface. It's got neat tool storage. And just some thoughtful design things, like even where the bleeder screw is for the boiler is smart. So we're just going to say it's very thoughtfully designed. So yeah, I mean, for the price, I would take this almost any day over a Breville. I think that if all of this stuff does prove true, it will punch well above its weight class. It's a good system. Like, there's nothing I'm looking at here and saying, oh, well, you actually overlooked something. This is not meant to be a decent espresso killer. This is, they had a financial constraint and they wanted to make the best machine possible within that and pack as many features as they could within that. Seems like they did that. So yeah, looks good, right? Well, I'm actually quite nervous about what I'm looking at here. And maybe this is just me being cynical. I see $1,500 for your price tag on all of this. And I say, no way. There has to be some kind of give. So let me do my engineering triangle, because you know I like triangles. Back whenever I was at A&M, we talked a lot about the design process and also just project constraints whenever you are approaching any kind of engineering problem. And so they would always break it up. You have speed of production. Now, this is not speed of output, but just you have a project, how fast you need it done. You have the cost of the production, and then the quality of the item. So this is one of the phrases they always said is, don't produce a $100 solution to a $10 problem. That's the quality side, but this is your triangle. If we're picking two with the Fellow Espresso one, speed, you know, it is what it is. We're almost not really worried about that. I'm going to replace that. I think once you start getting into integrated systems like this, you have the quality of the product, and then we're going to put reliability. And this is kind of where we're getting the quality of the result, the reliability of the product, and the cost of said product are within this triangle. So this is low cost. You don't want an expensive solution. They have very clearly said over and over that they have chosen low cost to be one of their big parameters. Then their other question is, are they going for reliability or quality? I would say that they're going for the highest quality espresso possible. And maybe they've broken the triangle, which it's not unfeasible that they did that. But the big question is, do we still get our reliability? Or did they say, we're not too worried? I don't know. This is where the bad comes in. Let's talk about it. Because right now in the cons, I do actually have some major red flags and specific examples, just again, from what I can find, because they're being a bit close to the vest right now with what they are and are not sharing. One is they have a bunch of mechanical switches in places I don't really understand why. It's for quality of life items. So they have one in the steam wand. And the goal of the steam wand one is for an auto purge. So, you know, you push the steam wand down, it actuates a switch, and it's going to purge it out for 3 seconds. Sounds great from a user experience perspective. Sounds like another thing to break to me. They have one in the water reservoir. And I get why you want that. You want confirmation that there is a reservoir in the water side of things. I don't know. Maybe I give people too much credit, but I don't think you need to hold people's hands that much. And now if this button breaks, what does the machine just not turn on until you fix the button? Personally, I would probably just end up bypassing it, wiring straight through so it always thinks it's on. So, I mean, like there's a couple more things. They also made it to where the steam wand only has limited rotation, and that's to not interfere with things. Other thing is the rotary switch. I hate rotary switches. Rotary hate. It makes me unhappy. The reason why. PS5 controller. You see it? See it? Maybe? There we go. PS5 controller. What I want to see is more people using buttons like a D-pad. That's all you need. We do not need analog stick stuff. I didn't mean to flip you off. We do not need analog stick. You don't need rotation. It's just another degree of movement on a switch that is unnecessary. It breaks faster. It's less reliable. Buttons work. You need buttons. I can press up, down, left, and right. On a LCD menu, you only need up, down, left, and right. And then maybe one more just for yes. Okay, cool. So, you know, if I put a little dot right there in the center, that's a new switch, we're happy. Because guess what? On this controller, this thing is broken. Doesn't work because rotation is very tough. Anyway, a lot of times they end up being expensive to fix. That's the end of that rant. And just being real, this isn't nitpicky, the cons. I do have a real caution in a moment. The things that I usually end up getting called in to fix is buttons and things like that that break. There's a big difference between a mechanical switch that is a pennies kind of part, like literally only a few pennies to replace, versus a rotary knob or a potentiometer or something like that, which ends up being in the ballpark of $10, $20, $50. For instance, I had a Nova Simonelli Mythos. I needed to fix the controller board because the controller board has a bunch of buttons on it, and those controller boards end up costing something in the ballpark of $400. But I managed to fix it not for $400, but for $1.25, not including time, obviously, but with mechanical switches. So whenever I say I don't like mechanical switches on the Fellow Espresso, I'm saying it's a failure point. So they can break, they can go bad, but they're pretty repairable. Rotary knobs end up being more expensive. The nice thing about mechanical switches is you can repair them if you know what you're doing. It does take some time and effort, just being real. But all that to say, I like this. It's repairable. You know, if you don't know how to fix it, you can just replace the whole board for quite a bit more money, or you can get someone who knows what they're doing and replace mechanical switches. But that's not always the case. And I want to give you a bit of a horror story. And this also leads into my great caution and the reason why I personally will not be pre-ordering one of these machines, though maybe you might still want to. It's up for you to decide. Hopefully I can help you decide by the end of this video. So here's my great caution. And the caution is proprietary parts. Now, I'm about to go on a little bit of a rant, so you better buckle up, Buttercup. Proprietary parts make me very mad. The Fellow Espresso one, design looks great. Very happy with the design. It's smart, it's clever. A couple little cons, you know, nitpicking. I don't like how many switches it has. The quality of life stuff, it's good. It might break. Proprietary parts. Okay, so let me give you a little story. I actually have this story on my bench. That's what this is if you saw it in camera. I don't know how I edited it. It is from a Malconic E80. That's not a zero. E80S. One of the best coffee grinders in the dang world. Okay? Let me tell you something. I'm pretty good at fixing things. I'm pretty good at taking things apart and putting them back together in a way that works. I can't do that with this. You want to know why? This is an LCD screen. See that? See that? Coming in focus maybe? I don't know. LCD screen. I don't care if I throw it because it's broken. What ended up happening is normally this LCD screen ends up being on top here, and this is where the display is. You have a rotary knob here and a couple buttons over here. One of these buttons got messed up in the move. That's fine. I can replace a mechanical switch. You hear that? This one. That works. That doesn't. Rotary knob still works. What doesn't work though is this screen, because someone ended up smashing the front of this. The screen broke. You got a broken button. Rotary knob still works, but the screen itself doesn't work. So the way these normally go, screens like this, okay? This is a 40-pin LCD. And if you look it up on Amazon or whatever, doesn't really matter where, usually you can find these anywhere between like $5 to $15, right? Wrong. You know why? This is a 39-pin LCD, which like doesn't exist. 40 pins are freaking everywhere in multiple configurations. 39-pin. Oh, that's only in the Malconic. That's only in the proprietary part. It only does the exact same thing as a 40 pin, but it's got 39. You know why? Because normally I could go in, see this? See right here, right there, that little, maybe it's going to focus. There it is. That little connector right there. Normally you just slide the new ribbon in, that thing that's all dangly. But guess what? I can't because it's 39 pin and not 40. So instead of this being a $5 to $15 part to replace, I have to replace the entire dang controller board for $900. You see the error there? You see the issue? You see why I'm mad? This is no longer something that is an hour of work and a $5 fix, maybe with labor. Worst case scenario, I go in and I charge someone $225 to fix that. It is almost the same amount of time to replace the whole part, but because this is $900, I now have to charge someone $1,125 to replace this stupid thing. Why? This is a $5 LCD screen. But now I have to charge someone $1,000 to fix it? Are you kidding me? And guess what? This grinder also needs burrs too. So if I were actually fixing this for someone other than myself, the repair bill would likely end up landing somewhere around $1,700. And the cost, if I were trying to sell this thing used, I might get $2,200 for it. Okay, because it's 4 years old. This is almost a totaled machine because a stupid LCD screen that's $5 got broken. See why I'm mad? See why this is ridiculous? Proprietary parts suck. Same thing happened with a Wilbur Curtis I have. If you have a Wilbur Curtis brewer, they have a little screen, okay, and it has like 3 dots in the top right and a little frame on the outside. Anyway, the capacitive touchscreen on it went bad. And so this capacitive touchscreen, like I was talking about earlier, touchscreens are maybe only $5 to fix. And guess what? This was a 6-pin, which is pretty normal, 6-pin configuration. And normally it's like, yeah, these 6 pins in, order of A, B, C, D, E, and F. And I don't know what those go for. But this is proprietary parts. Ooh. So what they did was they said F, D, E, C, A, B. And I don't even know what this actually is, what this order is. They just changed it up for no reason. So guess what I get to do now? I get to spend $475 to replace the entire stinking control unit because a $5 capacitive touchscreen broke. Do you see the issue here with proprietary parts? I hate them. I think they're stupid. I hate this trend. I know why it's happening. Let me rant for a second. I talked to Wilbur Curtis about this, and sorry, I know I'm a little annoyed by it. They're very good at making quality machines. They know how coffee works, how it needs to get brewed, how to adjust parameters, but what they don't do is manufacture these kind of boards. They have to outsource the manufacturing of boards like this. Same with Melkonic. Same with the programming. But what happens once they do that, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, this is just what I understood from the conversation. The people who they source these from now have the rights to manufacture that part, and they also have the rights to do whatever they want. So they make it non-repairable because they can make a whole lot more money if instead of being able to go on like a Arduino supplier website and source in a 40-pin screen, you have to now buy the whole system from them. Someone went in and they did the electrical schematics, and I'm not discounting their work, but this is not like they invented a new technology. They just invented a pin layout for a PCB like this with a custom software. It all could be replicated within something like a Raspberry Pi or Arduino, but instead they decided to make this thing $900. I bet if I were to buy similar firepower in terms of processing from like an Arduino or Raspberry Pi, I might end up paying, I don't know, like $100, $150. But because it's laid out in their proprietary way, I now have to pay $900 or $475. And this is my great fear. Okay, Fellow, I'm talking to you. I know you're not going to see this because I'm not a very big channel at all. But Fellow, here is my great fear for you, and it is proprietary parts. Now, I know you said you have a funky solenoid block, and that's fine. I know you said that you're using an Olka pump, and that's pretty generic. Solenoids, pumps, switches. Normally, I don't really care about these. I'm happy. The rotary knob, maybe not as much. What I am scared about, you are putting a lot of emphasis on the quality of life and the computer side of things. If that breaks, am I paying $50 for a new computer and a screen because you want us to repair this? Or am I paying $600 because it's a proprietary part? I need to know that. I will not recommend this machine until I know what the repairability path is. I am a little hopeful because they talked a lot about being able to get into the machine with their computer and adjust parameters. So maybe there's some kind of world where you can treat it like the old iPod touches and jailbreak them or use different parts or whatever that looks like. But I need to know this. What does your repair solution look like? What is your technical support like? You got plastic body panels on it. If those break, am I going to be able to source in new ones for 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 50 bucks, $400? What does this look like? I will not recommend this machine until these kind of statistics come out. And if they come out and they're great, that's awesome. I'm super happy with that. I think that what we need right now is them to open it up and go for an open source concept. If not, hopefully one day I can make an open source machine if I ever get time. But this right here is what's going to make this machine long-term successful or not. What's your repairability like? What's your long-term path like? You said something in one of the live streams that they require almost no maintenance. Entropy is absolute. There's no such thing as very little maintenance or very little fixing that's ever needed. It's going to need to be fixed. What about in 5 years? Someone's been using it 4 times a day. What about then? Or they use bad water. I know you said, well, you use good water. What if they used bad water? They didn't know. What am I looking at to fix that machine? Is that a $600 problem or is it a $50 problem? The reason why the Rancilio Silvia has been so absurdly successful is it's always a $50 problem to fix. Almost every single time. It's dead simple. So, fellow, balls in your court. What does the repairability look like? And for you who are considering it, I will not be pre-ordering one. I need to see what the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year longevity, what does the part sourcing look like? Hopefully this helps. Hopefully, I don't know. I caution some of you out of pre-ordering it. I don't mean to be a downer about that. I really don't. I think it's a great machine. You're welcome to pre-order it. And it might go well for you. Let's put it this way. I have a Project Mercedes. And it's about 20 years old now. All of the quality of life features, comparable to the Switch in the Steam Wand, they're broken now. Thankfully, I was able to go into the computer and delete those out of the system. But what a absolute nightmare that has been to work on because of what is supposed to be good technology now just being an absolute pain and too expensive to fix. I hope the best for this machine. I'm very excited about it. I need to know. I need to know how they handle the proprietary parts. Speaking of solenoids, I'm about to upload one on solenoids. Make sure you watch that if you want to actually know how to fix things. That's important.